There was once a woman who walked through the world carrying a shadow she could not see. It followed her from the first light of morning until the last colour faded from the sky. It walked behind her through the village, across the fields and along the narrow road that climbed towards the hills. She did not speak of it. Instead, she became very skilled at walking quickly. She filled her days with work. She kept company with others. She laughed when laughter was expected and spoke when words were required. At night, when the house grew quiet, she lit another lamp. She did not like the darkness. Years passed. One autumn evening, she left the village and climbed the old hill beyond the fields. The air was cold and the trees had begun to release their leaves. As she walked, she noticed something strange. Her shadow was no longer behind her. She stopped. There it was, lying across the earth before her. It was long and dark beneath the fading sun. For the first time, she turned towards it. "What do you want?" she asked. The shadow said nothing. She looked more closely. Within the darkness were shapes she recognized. A child sitting alone beneath a tree. A young woman standing at a doorway, afraid to enter. A hand that had once reached for hers and which she had pulled away. A word she had needed to speak, but swallowed. A grief she had buried beneath years of busyness. She stood very still. All the things she had left behind had gathered there. The shadow was not empty. All the things she had left behind had gathered there. The shadow was not empty. It was full of her. The woman sat upon the hillside until the stars appeared. She remembered the girl she had been before the world taught her to be strong. She remembered the tenderness she had hidden. She remembered the dreams she had abandoned because they seemed too fragile to carry into adulthood. Then something within her softened. "I see you," she whispered. The shadow moved closer. She expected darkness. Instead, she felt warmth. For the first time, she understood that the shadow had never been following her to punish her. It had been waiting for her to turn around. The moon rose above the hill, silvering the fields below. The woman stood and began the journey home. Her shadow followed once more, but now she walked slowly. She no longer needed to outrun it. At the edge of the village, she stopped beneath an old tree and looked back. The shadow rested quietly at her feet. She placed one hand upon her heart. Some things we leave behind do not disappear. They wait until and in the unseen places of the soul. The forgotten grief, the unspoken truth, the abandoned dream, the child we once were. And when we finally turn towards them, they do not ask to become us, to become someone else. They only ask to be welcomed home. The woman continued down the road. Behind her, the shadow remained, not as a burden, but as a companion. And beneath the wide night sky, she walked with all of herself. She walked with all of herself.